By the 1st century BC, the Roman Republic was basically falling apart. Politicians were corrupt, generals were fighting each other for power, ordinary Romans were basically caught in the middle. A century earlier, reformers like the Gracchus brothers helped to try to help Rome's poor by redistributing land, and both of them ended up dead for it. Then came Marius and Sulla, two powerful generals who basically turned Roman politics into a blood sport with a civil war. By the 70s BC, even slave revolts like Spartacus's rebellion were shaking the Republic to its core. In the middle of all this chaos, one man tried to save the Republic. But not with armies, but with words. Cicero. Cicero was a brilliant philosopher and Rome's greatest orator, a master of public speaking. He believed Rome's problems could be turned around if the citizens restored the Republic and focused on that rather than ambition. Basically, returned to old Roman virtue. But the problem was generals like Pompey, Crassus, Julius Caesar were wealthy, they were popular, they were powerful, and the Roman Republic just wasn't listening anymore. Rome was having some problems. Let's dig in. Julius Caesar was a politician born into a very wealthy family. One of the most super rich families in Rome. He had a lot of charm, a lot of charisma, a lot of riz, and he was basically a self-promoter. He rose quickly through the ranks, and when he became governor of Gaul, which is now France, this is when the real story began because Caesar led a series of brilliant military campaigns to conquer Gaul. He faced off against the Gallic chieftain Vercingetorix, fierce warrior with wild hair and what I like to call a squirrel-type mustache. There's a great picture of him with Julius Caesar sitting like a boss as Vercingetorix surrenders to Julius Caesar. The Gauls lost miserably. Caesar may have killed up to 1 million Gauls during this battle. It was awful. And Caesar's there sitting there like a boss surrounded by his loyal soldiers while the Gallic chieftain kneels at his feet. This victory made Caesar a legend. And now he has this massive province that he controls. He can plunder and pillage and bring back money to Rome, making him very popular. And his soldiers love him for it because they're getting rich in the process as well. Back in Rome, Caesar has some rivals, kind of some people working in the trenches in the politics in Rome, Pompey and Crassus. And so Caesar joined with them, Pompey and Crassus, because they could start a power coalition, the triumvirate. And so Pompey was a rising star who'd helped put down revolts in Spain and finished off Spartacus's rebellion. Crassus, meanwhile, was older, the richest man in Rome, had money to burn, and he wanted to have some glory to go along with it. So he actually led a charge to fight the Parthians. So in true Roman fashion, making his own legacy, going out to the east to fight the Parthians, he hoped to have an easy victory. But didn't turn out well. Parthians annihilated Crassus's army. According to an ancient rumor, when they captured him, they poured molten gold down his throat as a punishment for his greed. Yuck. And just like that, the triumvirate was down to 2. It was Caesar and Pompey, this politician in Rome, charming, smooth-talking, young guy, working with the Senate for support. Caesar, the general out in Gaul, rich, powerful, adored by his troops. But Rome had this rule. No general could bring his army into Italy. If he did, it was considered treason, an act of war against Rome itself. Caesar wanted to take Pompey out. So when he finished his campaigns in Gaul, the Senate ordered him to disband his army and come back to Rome without his army. And Caesar wasn't too sure he really wanted to do that. He had thought long and hard about this decision, and he finally made his move. In 49 BC, he led his troops to the banks of the Rubicon River, the border of Italy. Standing there, he uttered one of the most famous lines, "The die is cast." Once he crossed, there's no going back. He basically declared war on Rome by declaring the civil war with Pompey and made himself, he had to survive, he had to win, right? Pompey fled south. There was this clash in Greece, the Battle of Pharsalus in 48 BC. Despite being outnumbered, Caesar's tactics crushed Pompey's army. Pompey ran for his life, headed to Egypt, hoping to find refuge there with the young pharaoh Ptolemy XIII. But when Caesar arrived in Egypt, shortly after, he was greeted with a gruesome gift, a basket containing Pompey's severed head. Right on, as Caesar would say. Caesar was very happy about that. And I think the Egyptians knew where their bread was buttered, and they decided they would support Caesar instead. Now, while in Egypt, Caesar met Cleopatra VII, brilliant, young, ambitious woman. this queen. Let's just say they became very good friends, and Caesar knew that Cleopatra had his back in military support, supplies, whatever he needed. And when Caesar returned to Rome in 45 BC, he was basically unstoppable. He had defeated Pompey, he ended the Civil War, he restored order, the Senate made him dictator for life, the most powerful man in the world, but not everyone was celebrating. Many senators feared that Caesar wanted to become a king, something the Romans despised ever since they threw out their last king over 500 years earlier. So on March 15th, 44 BC, the Ides of March, a group of senators decided to act. Led by Brutus and Cassius, they surrounded Caesar in the Senate chamber and stabbed him 23 times. According to legend, the last word was "Et tu, Brute?" You too, Brutus, because Brutus was supposed to be his actual real friend. And Caesar died in a dramatic fashion. He probably would have been dead after the first couple stab wounds, but 23 times they wanted to make sure he was good and dead. This is going to set up a chain of events that's going to lead to another set of civil wars. It's going to last for a long, long time. And eventually the senator's quest to stop the king, Julius Caesar, is going to lead to another king, a guy named Octavian, who's going to become Augustus Caesar. But that's another story. Hope you enjoyed this quick little story time. This is Have to Know History. History you just have to know. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.